The Journalist and the Murderer is a multi-part essay originally written by Janet Malcolm for The New Yorker, later published as a book in 1990. In it, Malcolm explores the dynamic between journalist and subject, presenting journalism as an inherently manipulative profession that thrives on a distortion of truth, masquerading as objectivity. To illustrate this, she contrasts the legal battle of convicted murderer Jeffrey MacDonald with Joe McGinniss's book Fatal Vision, which chronicles the crime. By critiquing both the journalist's and the murderer's portrayal of truth, Malcolm's essay becomes both a work of journalism and a meditation on the profession itself. Malcolm interviews various individuals involved in the case: MacDonald, the defendant, jurors, and witnesses, showing how the journalist, by virtue of their role, retains ultimate authority over the narrative. This authority is bolstered by the misguided belief in the journalist's objectivity. The essay opens with a historical background of the case. In 1979, Jeffrey MacDonald was convicted for the 1970 murders of his pregnant wife and young daughters. During his trial, he developed a close relationship with journalist Joe McGinniss, who agreed to write a book about the case. McGinniss attended the trial and, over time, became part of MacDonald's defense team. However, in 1983, McGinniss published Fatal Vision, in which he depicted MacDonald as a sociopath who likely committed the murders. MacDonald responded by suing McGinniss for fraud, presenting dozens of letters exchanged between them in which McGinniss expressed sympathy while secretly gathering material for his book. The ensuing trial ended with a hung jury and a $325,000 settlement in MacDonald's favor. Malcolm's involvement in the case began in 1987 when McGinniss's legal team asked her to write about the lawsuit. Although McGinniss stopped the project after an initial 5-hour interview, Malcolm proceeded to investigate the case, using it as a lens through which to analyze the power dynamics and hidden agendas that characterize journalistic storytelling. She opens her analysis with a comparison to Stanley Milgram's famous experiment on authority, where participants, believing they were inflicting pain on an unseen subject, demonstrated the impact of power relationships on human behavior. Malcolm suggests that journalists share a similar position of authority, one in which they create a narrative by controlling the translation of truth into ordered language. The journalist also has the power to manipulate tone, occasion, and other stylistic elements that shape how readers perceive the truth value of a text. After outlining the power struggle between journalist and subject, Malcolm shifts focus to the questionable actions of McGinniss and his legal team. Rather than examining MacDonald's guilt or innocence, she critiques McGinniss's approach to controlling the narrative in Fatal Vision by applying clinical psychological concepts, particularly those related to psychopathy, to MacDonald's relatively mundane behavior and personality. Malcolm draws attention to the banal aspects of MacDonald's actions that contradict McGinniss's portrayal of him as an extroverted, outrageous psychopath. For instance, she describes how MacDonald carefully ate powdered donuts during police interviews, handling them with a delicate touch, like a fragile bird. She also reflects on a series of disjointed stream-of-consciousness letters MacDonald sent to her, highlighting that these represented not psychopathy, but rather a deep-seated helplessness and incompetence. Malcolm suggests that in most journalism, writers must synthesize contradictions and the ordinariness of a subject into a coherent narrative, often substituting their own assumptions and preconceptions. In McGinniss's case, she argues he recognized MacDonald's lack of compelling qualities and, using his position as a journalist, manipulated language and the ambiguous nature of interviews to distort how the public viewed MacDonald. She also points out that since most lives are inherently unremarkable, an almost inevitable distortion occurs as truth is transformed into media representation. Malcolm's essay does not propose a solution to make the journalist-subject relationship more equitable. Instead, it exposes the lack of mechanisms that allow the public to critically assess narrative truth. While she does not offer a clear definition of a good journalist, Malcolm frames journalistic integrity as a spectrum between banality, raw data, and interpretation. An ongoing negotiation the journalist must navigate to produce an accurate, representative account. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.